Hello everybody, dear friends, clients, astrology lovers, my followers, English-speaking followers. Here is Olga with the weekly horoscope for the week of November 6th until November 12th. I'm recording this video during the weekend of the full moon, so there's a lot of energy, and I have a lot of energy, and I hope this is a good sign. It will help me to not to forget what I want to say, because the week will be, even though we just passed the full moon, the week will be very intense and extremely important and strategic, and I'll explain you why. I will start the analysis of the transits of the upcoming week with the information, with the part of information that I already said, that I explained the last time, because actually this information was important for the last week, the week that just ended up, and it's still important for the upcoming week. I would like you to remember, to recall what happened 3 months ago. In August 2017, we had two eclipses: the lunar eclipse on the axis Leo Aquarius and the solar eclipse in the sign of Leo. And the particularity of the month of November 2017 is actually the fact that the month of November is situated at the middle point between the past eclipses of August and the future eclipses of January, February 2018. Which means that we are living right now, the time when the themes, the subjects of the eclipses of August are overlapping progressively with the subjects of the future eclipses, that of winter 2018. And this is important to underline, to remind you once again that it is considered that the period of 1 year of 12 months is always marked on a regular basis, of course, by 4 points of power. That is, those short periods when significant events occur or life tendencies change. And these strategic points are, first of all, of course, the eclipses, which occur in pairs with the interval of 2 weeks, so twice per year, one pair of eclipses or two eclipses. And these are 2 points of the 4. And other 2 points, strategic points, moments, are such phases of the moon as the new moon and the full moon that occur at equal distance from these 2 pairs of eclipses. In other words, it's precisely the full moon of November that will revive the subjects of the eclipses of August, the full moon and the new moon of November, the both, that will revive the subjects of the eclipses of August, and at the same time it will give us a hint about the subjects of the upcoming eclipses in the beginning of the next year. For this reason, most likely in the upcoming months, even until the end of November, we can say, we will be brought to live more troubles, complications in our affairs than usually. We can simply be, for example, depressed, or to be in a depressive mood, or go through some anxiety. For some of us, and maybe for many of us, the month of November may be a turning point, especially near the full moon of the 4th of November, and the new moon near the new moon on the 18th of November. But the new moon of the 18th will probably be the main cause of possible turbulences. But I will get back to this subject the next time also, because I will talk about the new moon. So this you have to keep in mind. Think about the subject, the theme that you wanted to see manifesting in August. What houses of your birth chart were activated? by the both eclipses of August. These subjects, these themes, critical, important, major events in your life, in the spheres of your life corresponding to the house of the horoscope that was where the eclipses were projected, can get back in your life now. Okay, and you will have to resolve these issues before to look forward to the upcoming eclipses. We have, during the upcoming week between November 6th and 12th, we have 3 ingressions and 2 major background aspects. What is a background aspect? These are aspects or the angles. A background aspect is an angle formed by 2 planets, but by slow planets, because it takes time for these 2 planets to form an aspect, and after the exact after the date of the exact aspect, it takes time for the aspect to be unformed. For the planets, it takes time for the planets to get farther from each other. One of the 2 background aspects of the month of November is the trine Jupiter in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. Actually, the aspect will be exact on December 3rd, but in November, during the entire month of November, the planets are getting closer, and that's why we call it the background. You see, it covers the entire month. It's a good time for philosophical and religious research, it raises the level of education. It fosters the broadening of spiritual horizons and of cultural vision. It's definitely a fruitful moment for musicians, poets, artists, public figures, preachers, as well for travelers and researchers. It's a time of deeper understanding of religious, spiritual, and mystical issues. It's also a very good period of time for new projects in music, art, psychology, first of all, and also finances. So we will not feel the impact of this aspect on our everyday life, because the aspect is formed by 2 slow planets, and most often the slow planets have impact on the processes on the level of on a society or a country or many countries on the entire world. But still, it's important to mention this background aspect. Another background aspect I already mentioned the last time, that was active the last week, and it's still active, of course, the current week until the November 12th, because it will be exact on the 11th of November. It will be the trine of Saturn in Sagittarius, which is ready to change the sign. It will pass in 2-3 weeks in the sign of Capricorn. And by the way, I'm planning to prepare a separate video about the transit of Saturn by Capricorn. So the trine of Saturn in Capricorn and the revolution of Uranus in Aries. This aspect was already formed in May of this year, and if you don't benefit from it, it's time to do it now. And what is interesting about this transit trine of Saturn Uranus? According to their properties, the planets are antagonists. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, makes us live surprises without a hint of predictability. Saturn is a conservative. Even though it's the second ruler of Aquarius, it's the first ruler of Capricorn. It gives no chance to fantasy, but rewards with patience, stability, and perseverance in our behavior. Now, since the trine 120 degrees is an extremely beneficial aspect, we can expect the planetary adversaries to find common ground, common language, and we hope that they will bring us changes and renewal. But changes and renewal, this is the symbolism of Uranus, but those changes that we can anticipate and control at the same time, which is the symbolism of Saturn. You see that symbolism of two planets are combined, coexist. So as I said, the last time the aspect was active since the beginning of November, since the end of October, and we have to work on the on bringing changes, but to something that already exists, to something that is familiar to us. The update, the renewal is the word that suits. These are words that suit. Modernize, to transform what exists already, and that works very well. And we have time until the 20th of November to get advantage of this transit. And as I always do, I would like to invite you to check your personal birth chart, especially if we talk about the transits of slow planets. Do they activate, do they touch, do they form aspects, especially conjunctions, with your planets, with the planets of your birth chart? Please check if you have planets in the 26th degree, plus minus 1 degree, in the fire signs, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. If you have angular houses, ascendant, descendant, the 4th house, the 10th house. If you have these cardinal points in the degree, in the 26th degree of Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. Or if you have aspects between Saturn and Uranus in your chart, the transit Trine Saturn Uranus can bring important changes in your life. And once again, I repeat, we're not talking about the completion of the old and the beginning of something totally new, but about the restructuring of the existing things and situations, because it will be impossible for us to get rid of the old basis. In other words, during the upcoming 2 weeks until the 20th of November, we will have the opportunity to find unconventional solutions to tasks and long-term problems, to transform the usual circumstances of life, to break the rigid patterns and restrictions that have caught our attention for a couple of last months. Some situations can end up in an unusual way, but they will open up new opportunities. And these changes can be related to career, educational projects, development of ideas and concepts, foreign countries, and connections abroad, because Saturn is in Sagittarius. And these are the key words to describe the sign of Sagittarius, to all stable structures of life in the sphere that corresponds to the house of this horoscope of your chart, where the transit Saturn and Uranus are projected. This is logical. Okay. This is the aspect. The Trine Saturn Uranus is the aspect of firewall. Because Saturn, before to enter Capricorn in 3 weeks, will form its last major aspect with a slow planet. That's why we can call this aspect as a firewall aspect. I just said before that we have 3 ingressions. First of all, during the next week, on the 5th of November, Mercury leaves the sign of Scorpion, enters Sagittarius, and since it will be retrograde between the 3rd and the 22nd of December, it will pass to Capricorn only on the 11th of January. Imagine, Mercury will stay in Sagittarius during 2 months. Mercury that symbolizes communication, intellectual activity, short trips, commerce, trade. Its transit by the Sagittarius will impact our way to communicate in the following way, our manner in the following way. During the transit of Mercury by Sagittarius, our communication is characterized by big freedom in the way we express our opinions. Stiffness, shyness, uncertainty go away, giving place to spontaneity. At this moment, the promises and grandiose plans are made very easily, and during 2 months, next 2 months, people will tend to have an over-optimistic thinking. They will build sand castles and, first of all, themselves, and they will be inclined to believe in the sand castles, not only that they have built, but the sand castles of other people also. Also, during this transit, there can be a lot of new, interesting meetings and encounters. People will not use opportunity to communicate with a knowledgeable, authoritative, or even famous person. People will be particularly willing to get know foreigners, to meet foreigners, and a lot of us will think about work or studies abroad, or just to go on a trip to another country to discover new horizons and the culture and traditions of another country. It's also a good time to solve problems related to higher education. But of course, during difficult aspects of the transit Mercury, for example, during squares and oppositions, Mercury will manifest negative sides of its position in Sagittarius, which are superficiality, scatteredness, overestimation of our knowledge and abilities, the need to appear to others smarter than we are in reality, hypocrisy, tendency to sermonize everyone. These are also negative manifestations of Mercury in Sagittarius. Communication problems can be caused by familiarity, garrulity, and naivety. Especially this arrogance, in the way of expressing our opinions, when we think that we are smarter than others. Another ingression, so until the 11th of December, okay, another ingression of the week is our Venus that enters Scorpio on the 7th of November, and it will stay in Scorpio until the 1st of December. As you may know, I hope, the symbolism of Venus. Venus symbolizes, in astrological theory, in the birth chart, Venus represents attraction, love experiences, judgments, our opinions, opinions especially over the beauty of the world, opinion on the material value of this world, as well as means or ways to acquire something luxurious, like luxurious goods, objects. So during the transit of Venus by Scorpio in love and partnership, it will be the time of test of our loyalty and dedication, faithfulness. The Venus in Scorpio is traditionally considered as a passionate and unscrupulous temperament in relationships. But this is not always true, because this is true that Venus in Scorpio encourages the defeat of instincts and lust. The reverse of this abstinence and of this voluntary effort to control feelings are the aggravation of suspicion and jealousy. So during the transit of Venus by Scorpio, do not expect the manifestation of feelings and these tender emotions and tender fragile feelings. The true passion will offer unforgettable moments in love, this is true, but Scorpio makes everything insufficient. There will remain understatements and dissatisfaction, the lack of satisfaction. They need to have more. In the financial and business areas, since Venus symbolizes also money, Venus will offer animation, a lot of movement, and opportunities for new investments. Auctions and antiques will bring benefits. Now, we just passed, now we are at the 5th of November, the day I talk to you. Still, we are in the orb of the full moon. But on the 10th of November, will be marked by the last quarter of the moon in the 18th degree of Leo. So the moon will be decreasing. The 10th of November is on Friday. So imagine the following picture. On the background of the waning moon, decreasing moon, the Sun, which is in Scorpio, is passing through the middle point between the two pairs of eclipses that I mentioned at the beginning, which will bring to the surface the most difficult problems, but which will require the resolution. The problems that had emerged in August 2017, which we must get rid of in the name of the future evolution, in the name of perspectives of the future evolution. So the subject of the eclipse that were waken up, that were activated in your life in August will for sure come back the coming week, at least until the new moon, until the 19th of November. But we're talking about the week of November 6 to 12. Imagine in this context, the moon is decreasing, the sun is in Scorpio, passing through the middle point between two pair of eclipses, and Venus, which entered Scorpio on the 7th, right? Yes, will join Jupiter on the 13th of November, the Monday after, okay? So it will be in the orb of the conjunction, all these upcoming week. Well, I expressed my opinion on the conjunction Sun Jupiter, I think 2-3 weeks ago, in the video that covered the week when Sun formed the conjunction with Jupiter. On one hand, yes, it's potentially, of course, extremely beneficial aspect, the conjunction of Jupiter with any planet, but, well, we still run some risks, There are some conditions that are expected from us if you want to get the full advantage of this conjunction Venus-Jupiter in Scorpio. If we are ready to move to deeper levels in relationships with people who are important to us, many undesirable scenarios in the partnership can be corrected. Potentially, we can get a very generous reward for the work done in the internal and external levels. A reward in the form of expansion of connections, in the form of the access to resources, of opportunities to realize our main desires in the field of love and finances. Venus, love and finances, conjunction with Jupiter on the 13th of November. But there is still a destructive variant of the development of the situation. Don't be surprised, even though we talk about Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius. The extent of our claims towards people and the outside world can increase in the geometric progression and can cause problems in the financial and love sphere and in love relationship. If we do not control our inner contradictions, if we lose the sense of limits in our motivations, if we get engaged in toxic relationships, conjunction will be formed in Scorpio, don't forget. If we get engaged in expenses and debts that do not correspond to our capacities, we run the risk of experiencing losses and disappointments in love and finances. Don't take too much on yourself. Don't imagine that you can do whatever you want in love and when dealing with money, because Jupiter destroys limits and limitations and borders, but we still have to maintain control, okay? Don't think that everybody owes us something. So, but basically this is a very positive, of course, as the conjunction Venus with Jupiter. Even though there's these risks of overdoing exaggeration in the way we deal with our partners and in the way we deal with the money. The sextile Sun Pluto on the 9th of November, during the same period of time I've been talking about, will give us the opportunity to solve the enumerated possible problems related to finances and to the exchange of resources with other people, to resolve the issues with of our partnership in the most gentle and ecological way as possible. Because, yeah, this aspect, sextile, 60 degrees, Sun Pluto, softens a little bit this. Well, there can be tense because the conjunction Jupiter Venus is not a tense aspect like square opposition. The danger is exaggeration, okay, overestimation. So this sextile Sun Pluto will help us to focus, to stay focused and to concentrate all our will. During the transit Sun and sextile to Pluto, we will be capable to be resourceful, and we can, if we want to change the circumstances we have been facing for some time, circumstances that we are not happy with, we will be able to focus, yes, to be resourceful. But it will be more effective to direct our efforts towards a common cause than towards our personal interest, because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, right? And Pluto symbolizes the power over the crowd, over masses. At the time of this transit, the entire week, the 9th of November, 4 days after, 4 days before, 4 days after, it will be also a very favorable time to get rid of everything that has become obsolete, for a long time, of everything that we did not have time for. It can be equipment, furniture, the style of leadership, more abstract notion, worn out links or ties. And yeah, for me it will be a pretty productive week, just not over over love, over hate, over spendings. Have to avoid this prefix over. The last ingression I want to mention, this is the ingression of the fictitious point, the Black Moon Lilith. It will enter the sign of Capricorn on the 8th of November. It will stay there until the 6th of August 2018. I would like to find time to prepare a separate video about the transit of Lilith by Capricorn. I would like to invite you to visit my website, astroesotericpro.com, when you will find there very interesting articles in pro that I write myself on the lunar nodes and their positions in the sign of the zodiac, and on Lilith, the Black Moon, and about its position in the signs, and especially on the 3 levels of manifestation of Lilith. It's an extremely interesting subject, and there is very few information in English and in French, and my website is in 3 languages, so you can read on the subject in English. So I will prepare a separate video about the transit of Lilith by Capricorn, but now I will tell you, the most important thoughts. If we take the term temptation for the main characteristic of the Black Moon Lilith, then we will be tempted during the transit of Lilith by Capricorn until the 6th of August 2018. We will be tempted by everything that is dear to the sign of Capricorn: credibility, career, honor, duty, beliefs, principles, power, ambitions, asceticism. The list, of course, is incomplete. The list. These are just the key words. There is much more to be said on Lilith, on this Lilith in Capricorn, on the 3 levels of manifestation. But it is important to say in the context of this analysis, or this level of analysis, is that the transit of the Black Moon in the sign of Capricorn will be for us a moment when everything concerning our place in the social hierarchy will become the object of envy. The transit will provoke us to making very difficult decisions in order to obtain what we want. Yes, I maintain suspense. Go to my website and read on the subject, and you will hear more information on this transit in the separate video. And let's make a resume of the week. The entire week will contribute to the purification, to the liberation of our life of the most toxic and destructive patterns of behavior, claims, grudges, internal contradictions, as well as of the circumstances that limit us and that prevent the realization of our plans. Also, at the same time, the next week will allow us to make the most of what has been conceived, realized, and accumulated in the past, at least since the latest new moon of the 18th of October, because this is the 3rd quarter. We are passing from the full moon until the last quarter of the lunar month, and there are so many gorgeous aspects that help us in getting closer to our goals. And the next time we'll talk about the new moon, and once again I will get back to this strategic point of the year, which is the middle point between 2 pairs of eclipses. So I wish you an awesome week. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you. You will see me very soon, the next week. Goodbye.